Alright, so Survivor Series just wrapped up. Time for a review. I'm not going to go ahead and review the early pre-show matches that were announced like last minute, like the Battle Royale or the Cruiserweight Championship match, simply because I didn't watch them, so it wouldn't make any sense for me to cover them. I only started watching the pre-show once I found out that they're having the tag team match with all the tag teams from each brand on the pre-show, so I was like, alright, gotta go ahead and watch that, make sure not to miss that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and classify things as good, bad, and indifferent. And I'm gonna start with the good, and we're gonna start with the pre-show match, the tag team match, Viking Raiders versus Undisputed Era versus New Day. Now, one thing that I thought was good with not just this match, but a lot of the matches on the card, which I'll give them, is that they felt unpredictable. A lot of the matches, even though I had a pick, I had a prediction, I still, during the match, wasn't sure who really was gonna win, and I like that. I like the fact that that was the case here. You can still have a good match while it being predictable, but in this case, you had some good matches, and they were also unpredictable, or most of them were. Solid tag team match between 3 tag teams. All of them got some good offense in, and the Viking Raiders ended up getting the win, which I'm fine with, and I think makes sense, because it seems like they're the only tag team at the moment who look to have a challenger, or challengers ready to go. In this case, AOP, a returning AOP. Seems like they're going to be next in line for the Viking Raiders, and they're building up AOP as, like, I guess, a more dominant, team than they were before. So you want the Viking Raiders to also look dominant going into that feud. Next up, some more good stuff. AJ, Strong, and Nakamura. Now, one thing I didn't do, I made sure not to do for this match, is not get my expectations up for this match, because I remember people hyping up AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura for so long, being like, oh, the matches are going to be amazing because of their matches that they had outside of the WWE, so they were thinking it was going to be the same in the WWE. Wasn't the case. Hey, some of the matches were good, but they were nowhere near the hype people were giving those matches and this feud and such. So, I definitely wasn't going to get my hopes up for this, but I was like, it's probably going to be better, though, than the one-on-one matches that they've had with Strong in there, and I thought this was. I thought this was better than any AJ versus Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one match in the WWE. Keep in mind, I said in the WWE. I don't know about the other matches outside of it, and it had some cool spots in there, and once again here, I didn't know who was going to win. At some points, I thought, oh, he might win. Oh, he might win. So we had a nice monkey flip at some point from Strong onto AJ Styles. AJ landed on his legs, and then right away, Shinsuke Nakamura comes in with a running kick. And then speaking of kicks, at some point also, AJ Styles tries to go for the Styles Clash on Shinsuke Nakamura, and Roderick Strong comes in from behind with a running kick to the back of the head of AJ Styles. We also got a nice electric chair by AJ into a top rope kick from Shinsuke Nakamura. A lot of kicks here. And then the end of the match, phenomenal forearm from AJ on Shinsuke Nakamura, but then Strong goes ahead, just grabs him, throws him at the ring, and steals the win. Now next up was Adam Cole versus Pete Dunn. Now this, unlike the other matches, didn't feel unpredictable. I felt the entire time, alright, Adam Cole is definitely winning this match, especially with the fact that this was kind of last minute, or it felt like it was a last minute. They announced, or didn't announce, but determined the number 1 contender the night before. So this hasn't had like a huge build or anything like that, so highly doubt that Adam Cole would lose the title in a situation like that, and that's exactly what happened. But hey, they put on a great match. This really felt, out of all the matches, this felt like the WWE's attempt at trying to showcase, the type of matches that NXT has to the crowd that doesn't watch NXT, to get them to watch NXT. And I think it worked. The crowd was behind this match. We had a Panama Sunrise also on the apron. And then we saw one of the coolest counters, a counter that I actually didn't expect. Pete Dunne went for his finisher, bitter end, and I totally thought he was going to connect with it, because he got to a point where I was thinking, alright, I don't think there's going to be a reversal after this point. But no, Adam Cole goes ahead and reverses the bitter end into Panama Sunrise. Did not see that coming at all, and then he follows it up with last shot, gets the 3 count of the win, and he wins the match, and then he celebrates with the Undisputed Era on the stage. Cool. I didn't think Cole should lose the title anyways in a last minute match like this. And then we got the Fiend versus Bryan for the Universal Championship. Now this also is one of those matches where I didn't think this was unpredictable, but I was still interested in seeing how it was gonna go. Now, a couple things here. I still don't like the red lighting. Also, at the beginning of the match I was thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna like this match, but then things started really picking up. especially when Daniel Bryan started getting some offense in. When the Fiend was getting the offense in, it wasn't as good. Wasn't as fast-paced, obviously. Bryan really picked up the pace of the match. I think he really is the one that made this match, and we still got the Fiend no-selling some stuff, except this time it wasn't the finisher that he was no-selling, it was Daniel Bryan's kicks. Daniel Bryan went for those kicks, and the Fiend got right back up. And Bryan even connected with that final kick, which, most of the time he misses. He usually connects with all the kicks, and then he goes for that final kick, and then, the opponent ducks or whatever. In this case, the Fiend didn't duck. So I think by now it's pretty clear the Fiend has phenomenal durability stats, but he's got terrible agility and terrible, what would I call it, speed? Yeah, I guess both of them, because he sucks at dodging stuff. He always gets hit with a bunch of finishers more than anybody else, but he can get up from those finishers. While other people, they can dodge and counter finishers a lot, but once you hit him with that finisher, it's pretty much over. It's kind of like a video game. But anyways, so Daniel Bryan actually went for the running knee, and he got a 2 count. Now this surprises me because you look at the Fiend's matches with Seth Rollins hits the stop, and then the Fiend gets right back up. There's no 2 count or anything like that, maybe after a bunch of stops, but after the first stop, he just gets right back up. There's no cover or anything like that. In this case, one running knee, got a 2 count. So I don't know if they're maybe realizing, hey, maybe we made him a bit too strong, let's nerf him a bit, or maybe the running knee is just so much stronger than the stop. And we also got a nice counter in the corner where Daniel Bryan was on the top rope, the Fiend goes ahead, goes for the mandible claw, he puts it in, but Daniel Bryan goes ahead, holds on to his arm, and he puts him in an arm bar, but he's like right over the ropes, he's on the outside, Bray's on the inside, so the referee starts counting, so Bryan eventually needs to let go, and then the finish, Bryan goes for the running knee, and right as he's going for it, he's running towards him. The Fiend goes ahead and hits him with that mandible claw. Once again, referee's like, Bryan, what do you say? Well, what's he supposed to say? He's got the guy's hand in his mouth. And then his shoulders eventually are on the mat. 1, 2, 3. The Fiend wins in what I thought was his best match yet. Seems like, the Fiend or Bray Wyatt works well with Daniel Bryan. I remember his first match with Bryan. I think it was at the Rumble or something like that. That was also a good match. And speaking of that, they took a spot from that match where Bryan goes for the suicide dive, and Bray Wyatt catches him into Sister Abigail, except this time, Daniel Bryan, I guess, smartened up, or he knew what was coming, so he got out of the Sister Abigail, but they try to go for that same spot right there. And then the men's elimination match, NXT versus Smackdown versus Raw. So this match was really interesting, and the crowd went from really enjoying it to really mad really quick, because they started things off with like a face-off with Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre and Walter, right? And the crowd's really behind Walter. They like Walter, and Walter goes ahead, trades blows with them, this and that, and then he's distracted with Braun Strowman. He's got his eyes on Braun. He turns around, bam, Claymore kick out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre just eliminated Walter. Walter's the first eliminated from Team NXT, and the crowd got really mad after that. They started booing a lot. So they really like Walter, and I think that ruined the match for a lot of people. For me, hey, I was fine. I thought this match had a lot of cool moments. We had a great sequence of counters and moves between Ricochet and Shorty G. And then I liked the spot where KO was on the top rope. He wanted to go for the frog splash, but he's got Ciampa down and he's got Gable down. He's looking at both of them, not knowing who to frog splash. And I like this because of what happened earlier with Seth Rollins wondering if he can trust Kevin Owens, and what happened afterwards. So Kevin Owens decides, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and frog splash Gable. Makes sense. He just teamed up with Ciampa. He's cool with Ciampa. And like I said, he was on War Games and teamed up with him yesterday. And he hits a frog splash on Gable. 1, 2, 3. Gable's eliminated. He goes on a rampage on the outside, beating some people up. He gets back in the ring. As soon as he gets back in the ring, Ciampa goes ahead, takes advantage, and hits him with the draping DDT, the middle rope DDT. 1, 2, 3, and KO's out. So he chose to not frog splash Ciampa, and that cost him his spot in the match. And then after that, I also like Randy's spots, man. He went ahead, went for an RKO on Ciampa, and then he hit the RKO also on Priest and eliminated Priest. Then he goes ahead and tries it on Riddle. Riddle avoids it, and then he covers Randy with a roll-up. 1, 2, 3. Randy is eliminated, and then Randy, being annoyed, he goes ahead and hits him with an RKO on his way out, and then Corbin eliminates Riddle, goes ahead and just covers him. One thing that I don't think is that great is when Braun goes ahead on the outside and starts, running through everybody, because he barely touches them. Obviously, it's, to protect them, but it doesn't look as great when he's barely touching them and he's slightly connecting with, like, the side of their shoulder. But anyways, I liked when Keith Lee went ahead and just stopped him by hitting him with a crossbody there on the outside. And then that led to another elimination because once Bryan got up, bam, Claymore kick on the outside, Keith Lee got back in the ring, Drew McIntyre got back in the ring, Braun Strowman did not, so he got counted out. This was like the second time that Braun lost via countout in a Survivor Series match. I think the first time too, that's how he lost. They put him through a table and he wasn't able to get back in the ring. And Ricochet, man, they spotlighted him for just a little bit after that, where he pulled off some cool moves, he did an outside dive, but then once he gets back in the ring, end of days, and he's eliminated. And then Ali and Corbin argued on the outside, and once he's back in the ring, bam, stomp out of nowhere, and he's out as well. Another cool moment was when Drew was going for the Claymore kick on Ciampa, and he got hit with a spear out of nowhere from Roman Reigns, and that eliminated him. And then Roman, annoyed with Corbin, goes ahead and spears him, and lets Ciampa pin him. And then once Ciampa got eliminated and Keith Lee was down with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and he dodges the stomp and he goes ahead and takes out Seth Rollins and pins him after that fireman's carry into a power slam. I was like, yo, this is cool because I like Keith Lee. I like the fact that they're pushing him. I feel like he should go for the championship, and eventually I'd like to see Brock versus Keith. I think that has potential depending on how much Brock would want to do. But back to the match. Also, the last moments with Keith Lee and Roman being the last two, I actually thought that maybe he could get Roman Reigns with that powerbomb that he hit, but Roman Reigns kicked out, and then once he went for that moonsault right after, that's when I knew, okay, he's losing, he's missing that moonsault. That's exactly what happened, and then Roman hit him with a really nice looking spear for the win. But hey, I really enjoyed this match. I thought NXT was going to win because I thought, NXT could potentially have somebody turning from Raw or Smackdown and joining NXT, or maybe somebody new joining NXT helping them, but none of that happened. And afterwards, we got a good Becky promo, and then we got Brock versus Ray. And this was a fun short match. I don't know if I'd say this was better than Finn versus Brock or Brock versus AJ. Actually, probably not, but it was still good. And Ray also pulled out, that massive toilet paper roll that's like stainless steel color that we're supposed to believe is an actual pipe, and he got German suplexed on it. So, it kind of went against them there in the match. And at some point, Dominic gets involved, and he comes in with a towel, begging Brock Lesnar to stop, attacking his father, and then Rey Mysterio low blows him. Dominic also low blows him, and they're learning from Shinsuke Nakamura, it seems. And then they go ahead and hit double 619s at the same time, or simultaneous 619s on Brock Lesnar, and then a frog splash from Dominic, a frog splash from Rey Mysterio, but Brock kicks out, and then he just decimates Dominic, and then Rey Mysterio hits him with an F5, and that's it for that. Brock retains. I don't think anybody expected Rey to win, or most people, anyways, were going with Brock. But hey, it was still a nice, Brock versus little guy match. And then we go on to the bad. Actually, let me go on to the indifferent. I'd say the women's elimination match. NXT won, which I think is good, but there were some weird parts in the match, some weird decisions. Like, for instance, Natalya being like the last one in Raw's team, and then she gets eliminated by a punch. Not even from Lacey Evans, who uses a punch as a finisher, but from Sasha Banks. They're supposed to team up, and then Sasha Banks, punch, and then she's out. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. I've seen you take things a lot more devastating than that. I've seen you participate in a last woman standing match and stuff like that. Yet this punch from Sasha Banks, which, she does in like every single match, took you out for the count of this one. And then also when Io and Candice were like injured, but like nobody got like what injured them, like what made them, go out or being taken out of the match. Why? And then eventually they come back in the match, and we don't know, was it a fake injury? Was it not a fake injury? I'm guessing it was, supposed to be a fake injury, but that was weird too. And it just wasn't as action-packed as the men's one, where it felt like if you, looked away for a little bit, you missed something. But it definitely wasn't bad, which is why I'm not putting it in the bad section. Now, what I will put in the bad section is the main event. The triple threat match. This was disappointing. I'm talking about Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Shayna Baszler. Man, this was a slow match. The crowd was so dead during this match, so I know I'm not the only one that didn't enjoy this match. Nowhere near as exciting as the other matches on the card, nowhere near as fast paced. It started picking up towards the end, but at that point it was like too late. And the crowd was so quiet that you could hear Becky Lynch giving Shayna instructions when she wants to hit her with her powerbomb, because Shayna was like hanging on to the top rope, so Becky's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go, you know, let go of the top rope so I can powerbomb you. And then eventually Shayna wins with the submission with the sleeper hold on Bayley. And I didn't even think that was going to be the end of the match, and it ended up being the end of the match. But at the end I was like, alright, this was kind of an anticlimactic ending, but at the same time I'm kind of happy the match ended because I wasn't enjoying the match. And then afterwards, Shayna goes ahead, celebrates on the announce table, and Becky trips her, hits her with a leg drop through the table, and that's it. So the main event, the last match, I felt was the weakest point of the show. The rest of the show I actually thought was decent, was pretty good. So as far as a rating for the show, I think I'd give it a 7 on 10. I think that's a fair rating for the show. It was a good show, but like War Games was so much better yesterday. But yeah, still, good show, and NXT ends up winning. So in the comments section, let me know what you guys thought of the show, and if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. I'm out. See ya.